All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive on something pretty interesting.
Okay.
It's called Blooming the Future of STEAM. And it's an EU-funded initiative that's all about promoting diversity in STEAM fields.
Yeah.
And it's with a special focus on women.
Right.
So we're going to be looking at, we've got a lot of different source material that we're going to be looking at,
Cool.
about their programs, inspirational stories,
Okay.
and even some practical resources that they're offering.
That sounds like it's going to be a really comprehensive approach.
Yeah.
Sounds like they really understand that representation and inclusion requires a multi-pronged strategy.
Yeah, for sure. And they're showcasing successful women, both from history and today.
Right.
And they've also got a toolkit for teachers, a storybook,
Oh, wow.
and even a training program to help educators make their classrooms inclusive.
So speaking of the historical figures,
Yeah.
they've picked some really interesting ones.
Yeah.
Like Ada Lovelace, who's often considered the world's first computer programmer.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And her work in the 19th century really laid the foundation for modern computing as we know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just incredible to think that her algorithms that she designed for mechanical computer,
Right.
they still have echoes in the digital world that we live in today.
And it just shows you how important
Correct.
and impactful, these pioneers can be.
Exactly.
Another example is Hedy Lamarr,
Yeah.
who most people know as just a Hollywood actress.
Right.
But she was also a brilliant inventor.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
And
During World War II,
yeah.
she co-invented a frequency hopping technology
Wow.
that was meant to stop the enemy from jamming radio-controlled torpedoes.
Wow.
And today, we see that her work is considered a precursor to technologies like Wi-Fi and GPS.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I know.
And it makes you think,
Yeah.
how many other brilliant minds like hers are out there
Right.
just waiting to have their moment to shine.
Yeah. So speaking of inspiring stories,
Yeah.
Blooming the Future of STEAM also has a storybook
Okay.
that features contemporary women who are working in lots of different STEAM fields. So there's Sonia Negrão, who's making strides in biology,
Okay.
Paula Carroll, an engineer pushing boundaries in her field, and Anka Delia Jurkut, who's breaking ground in cybersecurity.
That's really cool that they have,
Yeah.
such a variety of...
Yeah, it really shows the range of possibilities.
Yeah, it shows young learners that, they can see themselves reflected in these roles.
Yeah.
And, when they can connect with real women who have faced challenges and achieved success in STEAM,
Yeah.
it makes these careers feel attainable regardless of background.
Absolutely. And it's not just about these individual stories.
Right.
They've also compiled like a repository of scientific articles
Oh, wow.
that are authored by leading women in STEAM.
So providing access to this kind of research is really crucial. It allows people to go deeper into the incredible contributions that women are making in all these scientific disciplines.
Absolutely.
One article I was reading explores the development of new biomaterial for tissue regeneration.
Wow.
And the lead researcher, a young woman from India, had overcome incredible obstacles to pursue her passion.
Wow, that's amazing.
It really exemplifies the power of this project.
And it just shows that Blooming the Future of STEAM isn't just about, celebrating achievements. It's also about sharing, those struggles and triumphs
Exactly.
that make these women so relatable and inspiring.
It dismantles the stereotype of what a scientist or engineer should look like.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
It's like they're saying there's no one-size-fits-all mold
Right.
for success in STEAM.
Uh-huh.
It's about passion, perseverance, and a willingness to push boundaries.
And speaking of pushing boundaries, the project goes a step further by providing some practical support for educators.
Okay.
So, for instance, they've got a teacher toolkit designed to promote inclusive teaching practices.
So what kind of tools are we talking about here? What's in this toolkit that can help teachers?
Well, for starters, it includes ready-to-use lesson plans
Okay.
that incorporate diverse perspectives and examples.
Okay.
But it also provides guidance on creating a classroom environment that welcomes and celebrates all learners,
That's great.
regardless of their gender, background, or learning style.
That sounds incredibly valuable,
Yeah.
especially for teachers who might be unsure of how to approach these topics.
Yeah.
But, fostering an inclusive classroom is about more than just lesson plans, right?
Oh, yeah.
It requires a deeper understanding of the systemic barriers that women in STEAM often face.
You're absolutely right. And that's why Blooming the Future of STEAM goes beyond the toolkit.
Okay.
And it offers a comprehensive training program for educators.
Oh, wow.
And this program dives into the complexities of, implicit bias, stereotype threat,
Right.
and the ways in which traditional teaching methods can unintentionally discourage girls
Yeah.
from pursuing STEAM subjects.
Right. Yeah. It's so interesting how that happens.
I know.
So this program seems like a really powerful way to give educators the knowledge and skills they need to create truly inclusive learning environments.
It really is.
So we've got these historical figures, a storybook, a repository of research, and this toolkit and training program.
Right.
It's clear that blooming the future of STEAM is tackling the gender gap from lots of different angles.
Yeah, they are.
But what does all of this mean for our listeners? What are the practical takeaways?
That's a great question.
What can they apply to their own lives?
Well, let's think about the historical figures like Ada Lovelace and her groundbreaking work on algorithms.
Yeah.
Her story teaches us that we need to nurture curiosity and challenge conventional thinking.
For sure. And encouraging young people, girls and boys, to explore their interests.
Right.
Even if those interests fall outside of traditional gender norms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we look at Hedy Lamarr,
Right.
we see the power of breaking down stereotypes because she was so successful in both the entertainment and science worlds.
Yeah.
And her story reminds us that talent and intelligence can manifest in unexpected ways.
Right.
And we should never underestimate someone based on superficial assumptions.
It just reminds us that diversity in STEAM is not just about fairness.
Right.
It's about tapping into a wider pool of talent.
Exactly.
And getting greater innovation and progress.
And the storybook, with its diverse characters,
Right.
really emphasizes this point.
Yeah.
That there's no right path to success in STEAM.
Uh-huh.
There are as many paths as there are people.
Uh-huh.
And each path brings its own unique value.
So what can our listener do right now to embrace this message and, bloom the future of STEAM? Any suggestions?
Well, one simple but powerful action is to share these stories.
Yeah.
Talk to your children, students, friends, colleagues about these remarkable women.
Right.
Spark conversations about the importance of diversity
Yeah.
and the incredible contributions that women are making.
It's about planting those seeds, and inspiring the next generation to challenge stereotypes.
Absolutely.
And embrace the possibilities of STEAM.
Exactly. And if you're looking for inspiration or practical resources,
Yeah.
I highly recommend checking out the Bloomin' Future of STEAM website.
Okay.
It's a erasmusblooming.eu,
Okay.
and they've got a ton of information, details about the teacher toolkit,
Right.
the training program, and the storybook.
That's great. So it's a great resource for anyone who wants to learn more and get involved.
It really is.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And it's not just about, spreading the word.
Right.
We can all be more mindful of the language we use, the assumptions we make.
Yeah.
Like, for example, instead of asking a young girl, do you like to draw pretty pictures?
Right.
You could say, are you interested in design or engineering?
Right.
It's just a small change.
Yeah.
But it can make a big difference in how children see themselves.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's like we unconsciously reinforce those gender stereotypes.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when we have good intentions.
It's not just the language we use.
Yeah.
It's also the toys we give children, the books we read to them, and the role models we expose them to.
Yeah, we need to make a conscious effort to broaden their horizons
Right.
and show them that STEAM is for everyone,
Exactly.
no matter their gender.
And this is where initiatives like Blooming the Future of STEAM can be really valuable to providing resources and training
Right.
to help educators create more inclusive spaces
Yeah, for sure.
where all students can feel empowered
Right.
to explore their interests.
You mentioned that training program before.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little more about how it addresses the systemic barriers that women in STEAM often face?
So the training program is meant to be very interactive.
Okay.
And it really encourages those educators to examine their own unconscious biases
Right.
and understand how these biases can show up in the classroom. For example, research shows that teachers tend to call on boys more often in math and science classes,
Oh, wow.
even when girls have their hands up.
Yeah, it's interesting how those subtle things can add up over time
Exactly.
and really send a message about who belongs.
Exactly. And the training helps teachers become aware of these patterns and gives them strategies to counteract them.
Okay.
It also delves into the concept of stereotype threat,
Okay.
which is the fear of confirming a negative stereotype
Right.
about one's group.
So how does stereotype threat impact women in STEAM?
Well, imagine a young woman is taking a really difficult physics exam,
Okay.
and she's aware of the stereotype that women aren't as good at physics as men. that can add pressure and anxiety,
Right.
which can actually make her perform worse.
Yeah, almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. And the program gives teachers tools to create an environment that reduces that stereotype threat.
Right.
So things like highlighting achievements of women in STEAM, emphasizing the importance of hard work over natural ability,
Right.
and creating a culture of support and collaboration.
So shifting the focus from competition
Exactly.
collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we create these inclusive spaces, we're not just benefiting women,
Right.
we're benefiting everyone.
Exactly. Studies show that diverse teams are more innovative and productive.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, when you have all those different perspectives and
Right.
experiences.
It's essential for tackling the challenges we face as a society,
Right.
whether it's developing new technologies,
Mm-hmm.
finding solutions to climate change,
Right.
or advancing medical research.
Yeah, we need everyone
Yeah.
working together.
All hands on deck.
Right, and making sure we have a diversity of perspectives represented.
For sure.
So the impact of all this goes far beyond just increasing the numbers
Right.
of women in STEAM.
It's about cultivating a more inclusive and equitable society.
Absolutely. It's really inspiring to see a project like this that's so comprehensive.
It's encouraging to see this growing awareness
Right.
of the importance of diversity.
But awareness is only the first step.
Exactly.
We need to actually do something about it.
Right. We need action.
So what kind of actions can our listener take to
Mhm.
contribute to this movement? What would you suggest?
Well, as we said before,
Yeah.
sharing stories of inspiring women is a great start.
Yeah.
But we can go further and support organizations working to promote this, like Blooming the Future of STEAM.
Right.
But there are many others out there.
Right.
You can donate your time or resources.
Yeah.
Or just spread the word.
Right. Those are all great suggestions.
Yeah.
Even small things can help.
Another thing you can do is challenge gender stereotypes whenever you hear them.
Yeah.
Like if you hear someone say girls aren't good at math
Right.
or that science is a boys' subject,
Yeah.
speak up.
Right.
Challenge those assumptions
For sure.
and help shift the narrative.
It's about being an advocate for change in every part of our lives.
And finally, don't underestimate the power of your own example.
Yeah.
If you're a woman in STEAM, share your story.
Right.
And if you're not, be a vocal supporter of those who are.
Right.
Encourage young people to go after their interests,
Yeah.
no matter what society might say.
It's about creating a culture where all those dreams are nurtured
Exactly.
and all talents are celebrated.
When we do that,
Yeah.
we unlock a world of possibilities,
Right.
not just for women in STEAM, but for everyone.
Yeah, it really feels like we're starting to understand like the bigger picture here,
Yeah.
by empowering women in STEAM.
Right.
We're not just changing, individual lives,
Uh-huh.
but we're creating a more just and equitable world,
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. It's all connected.
Yeah.
When we help one group, we all benefit.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into blooming the future of STEAM, what are the key takeaways that you hope our listeners will remember?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to remember the incredible women
Yeah.
that we talked about today.
Right.
Both the ones from the past and the ones working today, their stories show us the power of passion and hard work.
Yeah.
And, not being afraid to challenge the status quo.
Right. And their achievements in STEAM
Yeah.
have really changed our world
They have.
and are still inspiring others to chase their dreams.
Exactly.
And then the second takeaway is that diversity isn't just some trendy word.
Right.
It's absolutely essential.
It is.
We need more perspectives and experiences in STEAM if we want to solve these complicated problems
Yes.
facing our world.
It's about tapping into our full potential
Yeah.
as humans.
And harnessing that collective intelligence.
Absolutely.
And lastly, we need to remember that each of us has a role to play
Right.
in making STEAM more inclusive and equitable for everyone.
Whether that's challenging stereotypes,
Yeah.
supporting organizations,
Right.
or just encouraging young people to explore what they're interested in.
We can all make a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a call to action.
It
A reminder that change starts with each of us.
And blooming the future of STEAM shows us
Right.
that even small actions
Yeah.
can make a big impact.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us.
It's been my pleasure.
And for our listeners, you can visit erasmusblooming.eu
Yes.
to learn more about blooming the future of STEAM and check out all the great resources they have available.
You'll find inspiring stories, tools, and tons of information.
Great.
To help you promote diversity in STEAM.
So remember, everyone.
Yeah.
The future of STEAM is in our hands.
It is.
Let's work together to create a world where everyone has the chance to thrive.
Absolutely.
And reach their full potential.
I think that's a great place to end it.
I agree.